This video is an important one that I've been wanting to do. I've been wanting to do this. This is the main one I've been wanting to do before I even thought about doing a YouTube channel because I think it's so important. It's called You Can Miss It. And I'm particularly talking to Black women because you can miss it. And what I mean by that is you can miss having a family, getting married, all of that. And this is part one. On part two, I'm going to bring in a couple of my friends that have some things to say about this as well. One is single and one is married. But on this one, this is just kind of my story. So I went to Faithful Central Church and I led several discipleship groups and two groups when I was single that were for single people who wanted to be married, who had either never been married before or they were divorced and wanted to get married. And we did a whole intake, and I did it with the married couple, Lisa and Dexter. And the whole thing about it was, the reason why I decided to do it is there were so many people that I met, women especially, who had not had a date in 5 to 20 years. Now, number one, how are you going to get married if you are not going out on dates? Something about that just doesn't seem right. I think, like I would say to them, are y'all expecting the UPS man or the cable man is going to be your husband? What's going to happen here? So the group was designed so, first of all, people could meet in that group, number one. Number two, we were dealing with a lot of the things that were hindering people from getting married, which was trauma, shyness, all that stuff like that. We would have them do all kinds of exercises like, okay, when you come out of church this Sunday, smile at someone who you find attractive. Don't be in a big group of other women or excuse me, or men. Don't stand in a big old group because men don't want to approach you like that. And a lot of things we did. Excuse me, the devil's trying to get in my throat because he don't want me to say this. But I rebuke him in the name of Jesus. And I'm going to say this because this needs to get out because you can miss it. So we had that group, and some people eventually got married, but they didn't marry each other. But we found out a lot of stuff from that group that was going on with people. A lot of it is fear. People are afraid. Maybe they've been hurt before, and they're afraid to launch out, or they have a lot of misconceptions about how it's supposed to happen. A man has to, the scripture, he that finds a wife finds a good thing. Well, so they use that like literally, like he has to find me. I can't find him. So basically, if you want to be found, you have to put yourself in somewhere to be found. So again, if you come out of church or you come out of wherever, a party, and you run to your car and no one has time to approach you, then it's hard for them to find you. So we talked to them about that, about, just making yourself available. Also, asking your friends, is there anybody you could introduce me to? Becoming friends on Facebook with people that you don't know, that are friends of your friends. And then also, I hear that Facebook dating is really good. I know 2 people who have met who are in committed relationships, and they met someone on Facebook dating, and they, I know I keep saying, my mother would not like that. I'm trying to get it together. They met somebody on there, and they're in committed relationships. And what they liked about it is they could vet the person through their friends, because usually your friends know this person. Somebody of your friends knows this person. So that's a good place to start. Another thing is just online dating. And a lot of people refuse to do online dating. They refuse to do it. And again, how do you think you're going to meet somebody? We don't we're not like in high school where you see them every day. We see people every day. We're not in college where we go out and we go to parties. Most of us don't go to clubs or anything like that anymore, so we're not going to meet anybody like that. So how are you going to meet them? The best way is really internet dating. And some of the sites that are good, if you're really serious, and the men are really serious on eHarmony because it's expensive. So they're not going to go in there unless they're seriously wanting to get married or something like that. I also think Match is good, and I have a girlfriend that got married through Match. Several people I know got married through Match, but you have to really, email with them, talk with them, find out that they are who they say they are, and all of that kind of stuff. Like you would if you met somebody anywhere else. Because you can meet somebody at church, and you can meet somebody at the grocery store. You don't know who they are. They could say they're this person. You could meet somebody that somebody introduces you to, and they're not really who they say they are. So those would be the things that I would say. And here's where I would say you can miss it. So I didn't get married until I was 49 years old. I had lots of dates, plenty. And when I was in my 20s, plenty of dates. I wasn't even trying to get married in my 20s. I really didn't want to get married till I was 30. So, okay, I'm 30 now, I want to get married. And, and I still had lots of dates, but apparently not. Some would say they wanted to get married, but then it wouldn't happen. And then I would be attracted to the ones, or want the ones that didn't want me, and the ones that wanted me, I didn't want them. So part of it is also me being overly picky about what I wanted, either in looks or money or whatever it is. And so that's why it took me to 49 to find someone. And there was a book, and a good friend of mine read this book, and I recommend it to everybody. I don't know if it's still out there, but it's called How to Stop Looking for Somebody Perfect and Find Someone to Love. And in that, you write down 10 things that you are looking for in your person, and then you erase all but 3, and you go from there. There's another good book, a pretty good book, 2 good books. One is How to Find a Date Worth Keeping, which is by, his name is Cloud. I can't remember his first name. Really good. And then there's the book. How to Get a Husband Over 35. So, also for men can be overly picky too, and especially men in LA can be overly picky, and they are also so focused on what they came out there to do that they're waiting till they accomplish what they need to accomplish so that they can get married. Well, we were at Cheesecake Factory one day. My parents were with us and stuff, and we were sitting next to these guys, and we were talking to them. And my mother said, "Well, y'all have wives?" And they were like, "No, we're trying to get our money together." And she's like, "Well, me and my husband did it together." So people used to do it together. My parents got married. When they got married, they didn't even have any place to stay. I think she went and stayed back with her sister, and he went and stayed with his brother. Then when they moved to D.C., and he was in the Army, they lived in a lady's house in a room, and slept in a twin bed together. Okay, and they have been married for 64 years. They have a house. Their house is paid for. They have all that stuff now. But when they started off together, and they did it together. They built together. They weren't looking for somebody that was going to have all this stuff and give them all this stuff and all that. So that's how that went. So anyway, let me see what else I was going to say about the phone's ringing, but I'm not going to answer it. The other thing is, so my parents have been married 64 years. I said that, and that is such a blessing. And one of the ways that you stay married for 64 years is you stay married. I've been married for 13 years, almost 14 years, and you stay married. That's how you stay married. And I watched my parents. It wasn't like this fairy tale. It wasn't perfect fairy tale. As a matter of fact, my mother used to say, "Oh, you just want to get married because you think it's a fairy tale." And I'd say to her, "No, I don't, because I watched your marriage." And I did. It was not a fairy tale. They had a lot of stuff that, no, you wouldn't want. But now it's not like that, and it hasn't been like that for years. They push through. My brother died um, in 30 years ago. Many couples break up because of that. They divorce because they blame each other, whatever. They didn't. They walked it through. They kept walking it through. And so that's what you have to do. Now, let's go back to missing it. So if you are still looking for this person that you have in your mind and whatever, and when certain people come up to ask you out or whatever, you're like, no, because no, just go out with them. You might end up liking them. There were guys that I didn't like at first, but then I ended up liking them. So that's a possibility. Um, and people have all these. He has to have a degree. He has to have this. He has to have that. Well, guess what? A person with a degree, or a person who's going to bring you a glass of water at night? Like, you laying in the bed, can you give me a glass of water? I mean, it could be a person with a degree or a person without a degree. Who cares? Is he nice? Is he kind? Does he love you? Is he for you? Does he support you? All of that. Why have nobody? Because you want this special sort of person. And then some people are scared because they never really saw a marriage growing up. They think marriages are a certain way and they should be a certain way. That's why some people get divorced too, because it's not what they think it is. Well, it's not what you think it is. It's hard. It's uncomfortable. They get on your nerves. You don't want to be bothered sometimes you do. Sometimes it's like, to me, a lot of times it's like being brother and sister. Like, your brother, but not brother and sister, of course, because it's romantic, it's sexual, but your brother and sister in a way that you don't disconnect from your brother and sisters. You don't cut them off. You don't stop being with them, even if they do something that you don't like. You forgive them and you go on. So it's like that in a way, if you think about it in a way. So what I'm saying is, so as far as I missed having children because I was 49 when I got married. And even though I talked to the doctor and he said even at 50 my eggs were looking pretty good, we needed money to do in vitro and all that kind of stuff because it wasn't just going to happen naturally. And it just never happened. And I regret it so much. I could have I was proposed to when I was younger and younger. And I'm so busy with my career. I'm busy. I'm going up the ladder. I'm doing my career. Maybe it wasn't time for me to get married then because I was a bit immature. But at the same time, you have to think about your biological clock and don't put too many things in front of that. So, and I would say to young women right now, if you're in your 20s and you're in between 20 and 40, in between 25 and 40, I would go ahead and get your eggs frozen. That way you won't be pushed so hard to get a husband so you can have children. And then maybe you get your husband later. Maybe you get your husband at 50, and maybe that's when you want to have your children. I could have still gone over to India. I found out everything at 60 and still get a donor egg and my husband's sperm and do all that. But I have some dogs and a cat. They make me tired. And so there's no way at 60 I'm going to have it start with a little baby. Though I miss it and I regret it and it hurts my heart that I didn't get to do it. It is what it is. But I don't want you to miss it. And think about it. There are so many women, Black women, who have missed it. Oprah doesn't have any children. Condoleezza doesn't have any children, and she's not married. And on and on. I can't think of all the names of the people who don't have children and are not married and are educated Black women, successful Black women, but don't have children in a family. And it's important. It's fulfilling. And I just want you to really think about it and look at yourself and even ask some of your friends, what do you think it is about me? Why do you think I don't have a husband yet? Why do you think I haven't found someone so that I can have children? What is it about me? And ask yourself and pray about it. Because if it's something that you desire, you need to focus on it like you would focus on your career or like you would focus on losing weight or like you could, whatever you would focus on something. You need to do that because you can miss it. And I don't want you to miss it. It's not a good feeling to miss it. And also to get married really, really late. It's, you know. So that's what I have to say about that. As, as Forrest Gump says, that's all I have to say about that. Don't forget to subscribe and like and share. Thank you.